Hello everyone, welcome to Clear IS. In today's video, we'll be discussing about various environmental conventions. I'm Mujpala Pullela, an educator at Clear IS. So the first one is United Nations Conference on Human Environment. It is the first major declaration which talked about the necessity of protection for the environment. It was held in Stockholm in 1972. It is hence known as the Stockholm Conference. The major outcome of this conference was Stockholm Declaration containing 26 principles. This declaration placed the environmental issues at the forefront and marked the beginning of a dialogue in the international community. Stockholm Conference recognized the importance of poverty alleviation for the protection of environment. So for the first time, this Stockholm Conference talked about the poverty and environmental degradation nexus. So as we all know that poverty and environmental degradation, they go hand in hand and they strengthen each other. So for the protection of environment, alleviation of poverty is a must. Another important outcome of this declaration was the creation of United Nations Environment Programme, that is UNEP. United Nations Environment Programme. All the environment related activities of UN are coordinated by this agency. It assists the developing countries in adopting environmentally sound policies. Its headquarters are in Nairobi, Kenya. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that is IPCC. It is a scientific intergovernmental body established in 1988. It was established by World Meteorological Organization and United Nations Environment Programme. It produces reports related to climate change. However, it doesn't carry out its own research. It depends on the voluntary contributions of various scientists and experts. See, when you attempt prelims, it is on such nitty-gritties which you have to concentrate upon. You may get the options such as Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change conducts its own research related to climate change. Since it's an important body related to climate change, you might get confused in such aspects. So it is important to concentrate on such small aspects of these organizations and conferences. So all these important points have been gathered here for your convenience. United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. UNCED is also known as Rio Summit or Earth Summit and was held in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. Its aim was to build upon the declaration of the United Nations Conference on Human Environment adopted at Stockholm in 1972. The conference highlighted the interdependent nature of the Earth and aimed at producing a blueprint for future action on environment and developmental issues through international cooperation. So this conference on environment and development, it stressed and it made the world understand the interdependence of environment and development. It said that development has to be in such a way that it has to conform to the protection of environment too. Key takeaways from this conference. The conference resulted in the following documents and agreements: Rio Declaration on Environment and Development, Agenda 21, Forest Principles, Convention on Biological Diversity, and Framework Convention on Climate Change, that is UNFCCC. The last two agreements are legally binding. Rio Declaration. Rio Declaration was produced at UNCED. It consists of 27 principles aimed at guiding the future action for achieving sustainable development. These principles address various issues such as special priorities for developing nations, common but differentiated responsibilities, and polluter pays principle. So, what are common but differentiated responsibilities? So, basically, it means that it is common for every country to put in some efforts to address the various challenges regarding the climate change. However, the responsibilities are not same for all the countries. So we have developing countries, we have developed countries, and we have underdeveloped countries. So each set of countries have differentiated responsibilities which they have to address. And polluter pays principle, it says that the person or the nation which is responsible for polluting the environment must pay for the damages it caused to the environment too. Agenda 21. The aim of Agenda 21 is to address the problems and challenges of today as well as those of the next century. 21 in Agenda 21 signifies the plan of action for 21st century. It also speaks about Local Agenda 21 where every local government should draw its own plan. So it gives importance to the grassroots level institutions too. It involves the action at regional, national and international levels to achieve sustainable development. UNFCCC. It stands for United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It entered into force on 21st March 1994 and has a near universal membership. So it means that all the countries have almost signed up for this convention. Its efforts are directed at controlling the emission of greenhouse gases. India ratified the treaty in 1993. Convention on Biological Diversity. It was adopted in 1992 and entered into force in 1993. India ratified the treaty in 1994. It is a legally binding treaty, so all the parties which have ratified this treaty are bound to implement the principles of this treaty. There are three main goals of the convention. They are conservation of biodiversity, sustainable use of components of biodiversity, sharing of benefits arising from genetic resources in a fair and equitable way. UNCCD. Established in 1994, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification is a legally binding treaty. It entered into force in 1996 and India too ratified the treaty in the same year. It links development and environment to sustainable land management. UNCCD defines desertification as land degradation in arid, semi-arid and dry subhumid areas resulting from adverse human impact. The implementation of the convention is overseen by Conference of Parties. Rio Plus 20. It is known as United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development. It proposed guidelines for building a green economy. The objective of Rio Plus 20 was to bring measures for poverty reduction and clean energy. Rio Plus 20 reaffirmed the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities. Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. It was adopted in 2000 as an additional agreement to Convention on Biological Diversity. The protocol came into force on September 11, 2003. The objective of the protocol is to provide an adequate level of protection to biological diversity from the risks posed by living modified organisms which are a result of modern biotechnology. So the term living modified organisms in general is interchangeably used with GMOs, that is genetically modified organisms. So the premise here is that the genetic material of these organisms is modified through the use of modern biotechnology to obtain the desired quality or trait. Advanced Informed Agreement (AIA). AIA deals with the guidelines regarding the transboundary movement of LMOs. So, the concern with LMOs is that the extent of the capabilities which these LMOs possess to cause damages to the environment as well as the human health is not yet fully known. So, there may be few countries which might be hesitant to deal with these LMOs because of the lack of knowledge regarding their risks. So here is a choice is being given to the countries if they want to import and use such LMOs. Under this, the party of import must be notified of the LMOs in writing. The importing parties then decide whether or not to allow the transboundary movement of these LMOs. Nagoya Protocol on Access and Benefit Sharing. This is a supplementary agreement to the Convention on Biological Diversity. This protocol deals with fair and equitable sharing of the benefits arising out of the utilization of genetic resources, thus helping in the conservation of biodiversity. It also recognizes the traditional knowledge of indigenous and local communities with respect to genetic resources. Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. This convention was adopted in the Iranian city of Ramsar in 1971 and deals with the conservation as well as use of wetlands. It came into force in 1975. It provides a framework for local, national, and international cooperation to achieve the above goal. Ramsar List. This list consists of the list of wetlands of international importance from each of the contracting party. Definition of wetlands. So this is important. According to Ramsar Convention, wetlands are defined as areas of marsh, fen, peatland or water, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, fresh, brackish or salt, including areas of marine water, the depth of which at low tide does not exceed 6 meters. Wetlands are one of the most productive environments and are considered as the cradles of biodiversity. Sites. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora entered into force in 1975. It aims to ensure that the trade in fauna and flora doesn't threaten their survival. There are three appendices to CITES: Appendix 1, Appendix 2, and Appendix 3. Appendix 1 includes the species which are most endangered and threatened with extinction. So these are the ones which require the maximum amount of protection. Examples: gorillas, sea turtles, most lady slipper orchids, and giant pandas. The international trade in these species is prohibited except when the purpose is not commercial. Appendix 2 includes the species which are not threatened currently but may become so if no strict trade restrictions are imposed. Examples: paddlefish, American alligators, and many corals. Permits or certificates can be granted after satisfying certain conditions. Appendix 3 includes those species which are added only on the request of a range country and which require international cooperation. Examples: map turtles, Cape stag beetles, etc. Additions or deletions to Appendix 3 can be made by any party unilaterally. So here you have to remember the differences between Appendix 1, Appendix 2 and Appendix 3 species. Bonn Convention, also known as the Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals, CMS. It has two appendices, Appendix 1 and Appendix 2. Appendix 1 deals with those species which are threatened with extinction. Appendix 2 deals with those species which require international cooperation for conservation. The Stockholm Convention. This convention deals with persistent organic pollutants and was adopted in 2001 at Stockholm. So what are persistent organic pollutants? So from the name itself you can understand that these are a sort of pollutants which are persistent, that is, they stay in the environment for a longer period of time and are resistant to environmental degradation. It entered into force on 17th May 2004. It aims at reducing, if not completely eliminating, the release of POPs, thereby protecting the environment as well as human health. Persistent organic pollutants. These are the chemicals which possess the ability to cause great damage wherever they travel. They have the following characteristics. So these are the characteristics which you have to remember and use in the exam. They can remain intact for longer periods of time. They have the ability to get distributed widely throughout the environment. They get accumulated in the fatty tissue and magnify their concentration through bioaccumulation. Basel Convention. The Basel Convention on the Control of Transboundary Movement of Hazardous Waste and their Disposal was adopted in 1989. It entered into force in 1992. Basel Convention aims to reduce the generation of hazardous waste as well as to restrict the transboundary movement of such waste. Its objective is to protect the human health as well as the environment from the ill effects of hazardous waste. Rotterdam Convention. Rotterdam Convention was adopted in 1998 and entered into force in 2004. It sets legally binding obligations for the implementation of prior informed consent. It deals with those pesticides and industrial chemicals whose usage has been or restricted by the parties. Prior informed consent. So what is PIC? It is a procedure in which the importer is provided with information regarding certain chemicals which are harmful. So here what happens is the importing party is provided beforehand the information regarding those chemicals which are harmful, and based on this information the importing party gives its consent. Based on this, the importing party gets the right to decide if it would want to import these chemicals in future. In PIC procedure, the onus lies with the exporting party to comply with the importing party's requirements. Vienna Convention. The Vienna Convention for the Protection of the Ozone Layer was adopted in 1985 and entered into force in 1988. The primary objective of this convention is to protect the ozone layer from depletion. It does not provide legally binding targets for the reduction of CFCs. So CFCs are the chlorofluorocarbons which are responsible for causing the damage to the ozone layer. However, this convention does not provide legally binding targets for the reduction of such CFCs. India is a member of Vienna Convention. Montreal Protocol. Montreal Protocol is a global agreement aimed at phasing out the production as well as consumption of substances that deplete the ozone layer. It was signed in 1987 and entered into force in 1989. The Vienna Convention and Montreal Protocol are the first universally ratified treaties in UN's history. So from this you can understand that these two treaties were highly successful. Examples of ozone depleting substances are chlorofluorocarbons, hydrochlorofluorocarbons, halogens, carbon tetrachloride, etc. CFCs are the most abundantly found ozone depleting substances. The protocol has been successful in reversing the damage caused to the ozone layer. Kigali Agreement. In Kigali, Rwanda, the Montreal Protocol was amended to phase out hydrofluorocarbons. After phasing out of CFCs, HFCs were introduced as alternatives. However, their use proved to be disastrous and resulted in global warming. The Kigali Agreement is legally binding and aims at reduction of the use of HFCs. Minamata Convention. Minamata Convention on Mercury was adopted in 2013 and entered into force in 2017. It is aimed at protecting human health as well as environment from the adverse effects of mercury, one of the most toxic metals. The convention also addresses the supply, trade, storage and disposal of mercury. It aims at reducing or phasing out the use of mercury in manufacturing processes. So that was the video. In this video, we tried to compile the important points regarding various environmental conventions so that it will be useful for a quick revision. So see you all with another video. Thank you, and please subscribe to our channel Clear IAS and press the bell icon to receive the notifications for future videos. Have a nice day.